Hello and welcome to my 4K edition review of the Ontario Rat 1. It's the next knife on my list of knives to re-review in 4K. We'll start off with the price. Now, when I first bought this knife, it was between £30 and £40, and it was only available in like a satin finish or a black blade finish with the black handles. Now it will cost you £41.95. Probably in the US it's gonna set you back maybe $30, between $30 and $40 maybe. But now you can get the handle colour in brown, you can get it in olive, and you can get it in sand. You can also get it with partial serrations, and you can choose the blade colour on all of those options too. So in terms of knives, it hasn't really gone up as much as a lot of other manufacturers' knives. So that's a great thing. As always, first of all, I'll just go through all the specifications. So the overall length of the knife is 8.6 inches or 21.8 centimetres. The blade length is 3.5 inches or 8.8 centimetres, but the cutting edge length is actually 3.3 inches or 8.5 centimetres, and it weighs 5 ounces or 141 grams. And what I always tend to look at with the weight of a knife is around that key 100 gram marker. 140 is still under the 150 grams. It's not that heavy of a knife. You will notice it in your pocket, but it's got a nice little weight to it actually. The rat in the Rat 1 name stands for Randall's Adventure and Training, and came about in 2002, so 15 years old I think. It has the OS 8 blade steel, which is a nice blade steel. You can get a great sharp edge to it. They are made in Taiwan, even though I think it's an American company. It's a liner lock, which means that's locking right there with this bar that's integral to the liners. It has a complete sort of see-through back spacer, but the liners aren't skeletonized. I can only imagine how much weight they'd save if they did skeletonize those. You can reposition this pocket clip, tip down carry, tip up carry, reversible, an excellent feature that you've got all those options. The liners themselves, you can take the handles off using the Torx screws. And you can even take out the blade and maintain it if you wish to on the pivot points. Your deployment method, you can just flip it up like that, or you can just slowly flip it up. It's got a double-sided kind of thumb stud, so again that plays into the nature of it being left-handed or right-handed carry. Feels great in the hand. The only sort of downside is these scales. They are a little bit slippery. They call them Zytel or Nylon 6. It's basically FRN, which is fiberglass reinforced nylon, and Zytel, a similar kind of animal, although this isn't that grippy. If they were made out of G10, then yeah, they would be more grippy. Feels very comfortable in the hand, and you could definitely use this knife with no problem if you're wearing gloves too. It's got nice jimping on the thumb ramp. It's not too coarse either. You've got a finger choil there, and you could push even sort of choke up on the blade for some close work. I really like the blade shape. It's quite a straightforward, no frills blade shape, very useful. And as I said before, there are blade handle colours out there and blade colours, and you know you can have the serrations too. So the locking mechanism I said before is a Walker liner lock, locks into place. It's not really going anywhere. All locks can fail, but the liner lock seems to be, I think, the most used in the industry, actually. I will say straight away that it's not UK legal to carry unless you have an extremely good reason. In the UK, all locking knives, no matter how small, do count as fixed blades. That was decided in the courts in, like, I think 1978 or so. But anyway, I don't want to get too bogged down in knife law. You can put a lanyard in the hole there through the scales and the liners. The hardness of the blade steel is 57 to 59 on the Rockwell hardness scale. It is a great starter knife. If you're just getting into knives and you want a locking knife that has good blade steel, I'll say it's not too bad. You're into locking knives and deployment, it's a smooth knife. for the money as well. The centering isn't too bad. Obviously you can change that with a bit of maintenance. And what I'll do now is I'll just show you some comparisons. One thing I will say is on the product description at least, they are showing that the handle scales are G10. Because I don't have, I want to say the newer version, if it is indeed a newer version, in my hands, I can't really say whether that one would have, you know, grippier scales, but that's what the product description is showing at the moment. The quite obvious comparison to this knife at the time was the value folder, the Spyderco Tenacious, which is probably one of the best, cheapest knives made, I think, anyway. It is made in China, but it's 8CR13 MOV steel. It's got a liner lock, which is very nicely situated. You can deploy it a number of ways. Again, you can tip up, reversible, whatever, oppositable, carry the blade, left hand or right. And it's got some jimping on the liner and on the thumb ramp. So that's probably one of the best comparisons at the time, but since sort of price hikes and things, the Rat 1 has stayed similar price. It's £42 now, but the Tenacious has gone up to a whopping £58. It's almost £60 here in the UK now, which in my opinion, I think that's just too much. As all my other videos and product reviews and things, I've never ever got anything for free from anybody, so I'm at liberty to say what I want, which is great because it means that my reviews are genuine and honest, because I spend my own hard-earned money on the things that I review. I'll do a couple of other comparisons. So sort of a higher range is the Benchmade. This one is got the better steel. It's got the 154 cm steel, the Melpar Dew design with the Benchmade symbol there. It's got this lovely axis lock, I think it is. The handle is a little cheap feeling, but it does the job. Jimping everywhere. Definitely much more grip than the Zytel, and even in some respects the G10 on the Tenacious. Lovely blade shape to it, lovely sweep point. You can't really go wrong with Benchmade either. Great deployment method and locking knife. So that's the Benchmade. And then further up in the scale with CPM S30V steel and made in America, well, like the Benchmade, is the Paramilitary 2. It's a similar sort of knife to the Rat 1, but it is a bit of a shorter blade length, but this is, you know, over £100 now for the Paramilitary 2. So, but it does have a nicer blade steel, deployment method. It's lighter. It really is a superb knife. And just for size comparisons, here's a UK PK. Just for there, it is the Rat ones are longer than the UK legal to carry knives, the Urban at the top and the UK PK, an old UK PK at the bottom. So just for size comparisons, I thought that'd be relevant. And that's pretty much all I wanted to say about the Ontario Rat 1. Ontario still makes some excellent knives. Check out their machetes and other larger fixed blades. They do a Condor and all kinds of things. Excellent company, and these knives no exception. You can't really go wrong at the price point of about £40 for a locking blade of this size using these materials. It's a great starter knife if you're thinking about collecting knives, and you also want to polish up on your blade sharpening skills too. Anyway, what do you guys think of the Ontario Rat 1? Is it your go-to knife? Is it your beta knife? What I mean by that is knife that you're not really that bothered about because you can just go out and buy another one, compared to, like, you know, your Spydercos or Benchmades or something. Please do put it in the comments below, your experiences of it. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. The Emperor Protects.